You ever just be so delirious that like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I'm delirious right now. You ever just walk like in life and just feel like you're like in a fog, but you're not really in a fog, but you're trying to decipher whether you're in a fog? Does that make any sense?
I wouldn't say that I'm going through life in a fog. I would say I'm on cloud 9.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I guess I don't know. It's just weird.
I'm basically saying I don't go through life in the sense of being foggy, because I don't think that the direction and path of myself and this podcast is foggy. It's more so just we basically feel delirious in a sense because we're constantly working. We don't get any chance to like really sit down and like enjoy things like this gaming event that's coming up.
Yo, hold on. Say it again. Say it again, Queen. Say it again, Queen.
This gaming event with Pro basketball player Nate Robinson. We have it on March 7th. Can I just tell y'all?
I just want to breathe.
I can't even breathe yet because I'm still like there's so much like.
No, I said I want to breathe.
I want to breathe, but I ain't gonna breathe until March 9th. Yeah. That's when I'll be able to breathe. But
Biggie.
Yo, it's crazy. March 7th at 368 Minorities in Sports are our partners. Shout out to sponsors who are providing product and all this stuff. We got Red Bull, Belvedere, Big Mott's, Bronx Brewery, and then 368 and Minorities in Sports that helped us with developing this event. I mean, this was something that's been in the works, and we were planning it since the live show.
Yeah.
And it finally, like, we've been to talk to so many people for months, and then I would say the past 4 weeks is when everything got finalized, and we just been, like, ripping and running and trying to get everything together.
Down to the wire.
Down to the wire, yes. And RSVPs are pretty much, I think they're done. I think we're quote unquote sold out.
So technically speaking, we're 2 for 2, selling out less than 24 hours.
Yeah, 24, 48. But we may open it up again. We may open it up for a lucky few people. Yep. But the only way you're going to find out is you have to join our newsletter, because then that's where we'll also drop it again to let you know when we open it. We're going to drop it only in our newsletter. I'm not dropping it on Twitter. It's going to only be in our newsletter. So if you haven't signed up for our newsletter and you haven't RSVP'd, you better do that, because that's the only time you're going to find out. And I think we're probably going to drop it maybe sometime next week. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
The only way you'll know is if you're part of our newsletter and you actually open our newsletters.
Or what you can do, because you're tuned into Grassroots Podcast, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification button to be notified for our latest To the Greatest episodes. I am one of the hosts, Brandon Killabh Hall.
I am Erin Ashley Simon, and yes, I still have the sty in my eye, and that is why I'm not wearing makeup still today, because I gotta be good and I gotta look good for March 7th.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nas?
You mean Wylson?
Wilson? No? All right.
No? Okay.
Well, one of these
that's
days,
weird.
One of these days we're gonna have the whole family back together.
Yeah, March 7th.
March 7th. I'm really excited though.
I'm super excited too.
Just with all the hard work and all the sleepless nights, all of the meetings, all of the content ideas, all of the work that went into it, I think is going to be a special, magical night for us. You know what I mean? And I think, honestly, I just can't wait to have fun and just chill with y'all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm excited for that. Like, to just, at least for a little while, be able to chill and have fun. So
yeah, like chill work. Because we're still going to be working,
we're still gonna be working,
it's still going to be a little chill.
A little chill.
Yeah. I also think, like, this event is going to become bigger than we actually expected to be. And it was funny because I was talking to Nate Robinson's manager, because originally, like, just some backstory, right? I might as well just give backstory. So I met Nate Robinson at the Players Tribune event when their acquisition with Minute Media. Shout out to Rob Villanueva, my friend who works there. He's the one connecting me with Nate. And Nate has always talked about how he wants to get into like esports more and just do like gaming events and stuff like that. And so I know we were trying to do a gaming event for a while, and I was like, hey, I have an idea. We're trying to do a gaming event. You should be a part of it. Yeah. So when I met with his manager, Polo, you know, I really spoke to Polo. I was like, hey, we're trying to do this gaming event. I think it'd be really great to have Nate start it off and be a part of it, especially with his relationships and ties even to the New York City area. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows who Nate is in New York.
Definitely.
And so I was like, I think this would be great. And, you know, with Brandon's relationships in hip hop and culture and my relationships in esports and gaming, I think we can make this a really dope event.
Yeah.
Come to find out, you know, after he said yes and we put the flyer out and everyone found out, yo, we have some really big people hitting us up about this event, and it's turned out to be a lot bigger than what we were expecting. We just thought it was gonna be like a great opportunity with Nate and like local esports organizations and businesses and friends, and now it's a whole
But you know,
thing.
I know what it is. I think we planned obviously for the big moments, right?
Yeah.
I think we always undercut ourselves about how big the moment is gonna be. Like until it's like a week, we look at each other like, this shit's gonna be big. Like it turns into something just magical. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy. It's crazy. Even down to like all the other in particular is like securing Nate, and then like the 3 different locations that we were trying to work with to try to secure it and just make it so that the event made sense for us and the brand and what we're trying to convey. So like how it all came together and just gelled is like beautiful.
Too.
Yeah, like shout out to 368.
That was a quick one too.
The sponsors that came on.
Minorities in Sports for helping us. China, shout out to China. She's been helping to facilitate a lot of stuff with us in terms of Gabe, Olivero, Zune.
There's
Paul, who's the head of 368 for allowing us to do it there. Like, there is a solid group of people behind this event, and we all like. The great thing is that we all believed in it early, and just now to see just the responses by so many people that want to come and attend and be part of it, like.
It's massive.
It's crazy.
It's
bonkers. Like
it's massive.
I wish I could tell you. You guys are only going to just have to catch. We are going to be dropping content live during the event.
Yes.
So you'll be able to see if you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Grassroots Pod and all of our individual accounts. But yeah, man, it's going to be dope. Also, Brandon is what is it? Today, so this episode drops Tuesday. So today, Brandon.
This episode drops Tuesday.
Today, when you see this video, Brandon's going to be on Cheddar Esports talking about this event with Gabe Olivero from 368.
Should be pretty cool.
I know. It's cool. It's also really weird because it's like, I was like, all right, I can't. I mean, I could talk about the event, but I can't be like interviewing myself.
I know.
So I was like, I need Brandon to come on.
Yeah, I'm like, how do we figure this out? Like, I was thinking about that as well. I was like, all right, well. We'll just figure it out.
We'll just get it together. So tune into Cheddar Esports. If you're listening to audio, tune into Cheddar Esports 5 to 6 p.m. to see Brandon and Gabe. And if you're watching the video, you can go back to twitch.tv/Cheddar or at Cheddar Esports on Twitter to catch the interview as well. Had to do a little plug there. They gotta watch you on the big screen.
Yeah,
Brandon.
they gotta watch. They gotta watch.
Oh man, but you know who we also gotta watch out for all these big companies that want to be green but are super problematic.
Yes,
like Amazon. Jeff Bezos, wants to get into this whole green initiative, but there's still a lot of problems when it comes to Amazon that still haven't been quite addressed yet. So
that was my thing. I don't know how to take this. For those that are unaware, Jeff Bezos is talking about making a huge contribution to green environment.
$10 billion.
Yeah,
let's put a number on it.
Let's put $10
billion.
And I, much like you, I have a lot of questions too. Like I have a lot of questions. Like I don't. All right, so where do we start first? What do we know about Jeff Bezos? Let's go from there.
Okay, so obviously he's CEO of Amazon. Now, to get you guys the exact information when it comes to the amount of money, he posted on Instagram Monday, a.k.a. the world's richest man. He committed to $10 billion of his personal fortune to set up the new Bezos Earth Fund, which would support scientists, activists, NGOs, and any effort that offers a real possibility to help preserve and protect the natural world. But climate experts say it's a massive investment that could help give the warming planet a fighting chance. But also, the company has been criticized over the years by environmental groups like Greenpeace over its business practices and lack of transparency. The nonprofit CDP told Bloomberg News last year that it was one of the biggest carbon emitters in the world outside the fossil fuel industry. Womp womp, that's crazy, right? Then also, there's been other companies that have been investing, and essentially, Morgan Stanley said in a report last fall, estimated that we'll need to invest $50 trillion to reach net zero emissions by 2050. Including $14 trillion poured into renewables and $11 trillion to build electric cars and charging infrastructures. So, one, it's clear that this is also going to be a nice tax write-off for him.
That's all I got. That's all I wanted to get to. That was my point. Like, come on, fam. We know what this is. But hold on, before we continue, someone's joined us.
Hey. I was just trying to figure out exactly where you guys were, but...
What do you mean, like in the?
Yeah, like in the conversation. I
thought you meant like in the room. That's why you were late.
Oh no.
I'm like, no. What you mean?
He was like, I was trying to find the room.
Yeah.
Got lost. Got lost in the style and the sauce.
Lost in the sauce.
A little bit.
Talk about Jeff Bezos and Amazon and his personal $10 million investment into environmental friendly initiatives.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. So that's where we are with Jeff.
Yeah, well, hopefully that $10 billion or whatever it is helps.
It's a tax write-off. It's the same thing that most people do when you either are trying to just, how do I put this? You're trying to do backdoor business. Like you start doing things that to the public eye are good for the environment and good for humanity, but your true intentions behind it will kind of show.
I mean, but even if it's a tax write-off, he would still lose a lot of money though, right?
It depends.
It could be short-term loss, but then long-term because of the tax refund and how much you're paying off. Then he won't have to own as much taxes. So it helps him ultimately because it's his personal money. So it's going to help him with his taxes.
And that's the thing, because it's not from a government. It's not from a company. It's not from organizations. From his personal stuff. So because it's from his personal stuff, that's an easy tax write-off for him. But to E's point, we don't know how that will impact him later on, or in the front end or the back end of it after this runs its course.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's also important to note, like, we don't really know what his personal intentions are because we don't know him personally. We just want to be very frank and let you guys know that a lot of celebs, when they do these charity initiatives or build their own charity initiatives, it's a massive tax write-off. So it's a win-win for everyone. Well, of course, they have to run well. Then it's a win-win for everyone.
Well, I was about to say, it's got to perform first before it can really start to garner what the goal is for it. Yeah,
and I think that it's hard just because he's received so much criticism and Amazon has received so much criticism because of just, you guys heard how much emissions that Amazon as a company is transmitting. And all right, is he also going to be changing some of the transportation systems and how they develop products for Amazon?
He has
to. If he's going to be doing this initiative, he can't just put money into it. He's going to have to change certain things within the company itself.
Everything we know about Amazon as a whole will change once this initiative goes through. You can't. It's almost like when you think about hip hop. Like you can't. Most people say you can't be a real hip hop artist and then still go and kind of like do what Mace did and go find God, air quotes, and then come back. Like it looks funny in the light. For Jeff Bezos to try to do this, and I know, sorry, Chris, for Jeff to try to contribute to going green and not start to move his own business to green, it just will look funny in the light.
Don't they already utilize drones?
They do. I think they do utilize drones, and I think I can't think of what they do with Prime, but it's something with Prime that is supposed to be eco-friendly or something. But that's only for the Prime. I'm talking about the company as a whole.
Because they don't have their own trucks yet, right?
No, not that I believe. Because they still use carriers. They use UPS, USPS.
So that's kind of green.
How?
A little bit. Like they don't have their own trucks. They're using drones.
But not if the packaging that they're shipping the product in is not eco-friendly. And again, if you really want to go green, you wouldn't be using you wouldn't be using trucks because of the gas. You would use like traditional hand-to-hand
electric cars.
Yeah, like you would use stuff like that. Like that's
bikes.
what I'm saying. Like there's a lot, and again, maybe it's baby steps, but there's a lot that he would have to do to, at least for me, to let me know that it's done for the right reason. But I don't know. There's so many different ways to look at this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of companies now that are trying to go green. I mean, even, Sony's trying to go green by how much electricity the new PlayStation is going to be using and the save modes and stuff like that. And I think that is definitely becoming a massive component. For some companies, obviously not all. Some companies don't give a crap, and they're just going to keep doing business the way they want. But I also think that there are other companies that are going to be going green, not only to help, but I also think for financial purposes, like tax write-offs, but then also for political reasons. Now, do we see this becoming... You know how, like, for example, that being a vegan was... not to say that being a vegan is a trending thing, but it's becoming a trending thing in terms
definitely.
of everyone and every celeb and everyone's talking about it and trying to be it. And,
Clean eating is apparently in. I feel like clean eating vibes and staying away from bad people that like you create in your head.
Vibes?
Yeah, like
like what vibes?
You never hear people say stuff like that. Like, and mind you, I put myself in this category of like going off of like an energy.
The vibes.
But then there's certain people that will say stuff like that. I'm like, yo, no, I'm just with the vibes. Like I never understand what that means unless we're talking about something specific. So it's just weird when people say things like that. I don't
That's
know.
like when you're trying to be like philosophical and hip when you
Yeah,
say what the
like-
vibes. It's like it's like what are you going off of? Just the vibes, the energy in the room. It's
Yeah.
just so electrifying. Man,
I don't
stop
believe
with that nonsense.
I don't believe half of you can really feel energy because some of you just move accordingly.
Some
and
people
move
can't even.
differently. Like,
I don't think you can feel energy when some of you can't even feel common courtesy or
gratitude, like just a little thing, the bare
or
minimum
common
thing.
knowledge.
Yeah,
like
just
if you guys don't even
the
know common
bare
knowledge, like
minimum.
how are y'all gonna sit here and be like, oh, you know the vibes and energy
Yeah,
in this room?
I don't know.
Y'all can't even read tweets on Twitter.
Yeah.
What makes you think you're gonna read the room?
Yeah, it doesn't. It's never a good thing. What was the other thing I was going to ask about Jeff Bezos? Damn, I got off a track of what I was going to say. Damn. All right, whatever. It doesn't matter. Nevertheless, but what do you guys think? I wanted to ask first. Do you believe him? Like, let's start there. Like, if you know nothing else, you know about Jeff Bezos and who he is and some of the things he's done. This investment, without you having the knowledge of the business impact for him, positive.
Did he state a plan of any sort?
Not yet. He just kind of went out and said, "Hey, I'm going to invest
$10 billion out there?
Yeah, $10 billion out there." He just that's what he did.
Yeah, it's the
It's a
Bezos
tough thing to
Earth
tackle.
Fund.
Yeah,
I love how he says Earth
Earth
Fund, as
Fund.
if he's gonna make a moon fund.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a Mars fund.
He could do it. He got enough money.
He really could.
Well, yeah. When you casually just say, "Here, I'm going to invest $10 billion," like it's nothing. Like think about it, because most people like that, it's not a gamble for them. Like it's like, well, it is a gamble because it's an investment, but they look at it like you already go in with the expectation of, all right, well, maybe if it's a loss, it's a loss.
Yeah.
Do you know what that feels like to lose 10? I don't know what it feels like, obviously, but I can't imagine what it would feel like to go in $10 billion and then at the end of the year, be like, oh, this didn't work out. All right, let's go to the next project. Like, do you know where you would have to be at in life? I don't even know that I would want to be there in life with that for a number of reasons.
I don't know. I'm assuming that he has some sort of plan, though. You
course
don't
he
just put
does.
up $10 billion.
Yeah, but
Really? Are you sure? Because
Yeah.
I see governments doing that all the time. They just be putting up mad money and
Yeah.
just letting things just waste.
I mean, that's a government.
Wait, hold on. What'd you say,
It's
Chris?
only
Hold on.
what?
Yeah, that's only 7% of his net worth.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
That's like him putting up like $100,000.
That's what what it is.
That's
Maybe
crazy.
even less than that, like $10
Yeah.
or something stupid. Like, can you imagine? But that's what I'm saying. That type of level of wealth is scary.
But apparently he's like so into space that people are worried that he's gonna try and be like OD, like futuristic. I also wonder, like, what would happen if him and like Elon Musk like partner up together on this initiative where it's like we can't solve the planet, we can at least build a spaceship.
They would build.
He's already building spaceships, right?
Who?
Elon.
He's building a lot of stuff.
I was about to say he's got so
They
many
said
different
that
things he's building.
they also said the car was indestructible, and I remember that reveal when they like threw something at it, and it broke the window.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I was like, ooh.
That truck looked nice though.
But also that flamethrower was kind of hot. That flamethrower that Elon
joint,
made,
That joint was legit.
that was kind of hot.
So if you had to choose between the flamethrower or the
Flamethrower.
off the bat
Wait,
Right
what
off
was
the
that?
bat.
The car?
or the car.
The flamethrower. That car is destructible. Like, I'm not spending that much money on a destructible
Yeah,
car. It
but-
better be indestructible. And well, also,
Yeah,
I don't like the way it looks.
That's well,
Hold on, which one? That truck?
yeah.
I'm taking the truck.
Yeah, no.
I'm going come back.
No, you made your choice. You made your choice.
If it was
Stay
indestructible,
there.
I would take
Stay
it.
there.
But so far, it's not indestructible.
Hey man, that truck is hard. Shoot the glass out. I don't care.
No, man.
That truck is dope.
That truck is fire.
Yeah,
I need
I'll
it to
just
be
hit
crash
soft people.
test more efficiently.
But yeah, that's hard.
It needs to be crash
That's hard.
tested a lot more
That's
better.
mean. That's mean. But the fact that it's not indestructible and it's marketed as being indestructible, and then failed the crash test of just a brick. Like it's just like I don't really know that I want to invest that much money into something like that.
Yo, you know what that moment happened when that car window broke? It reminded me of the days like when we were kids. You ever had that moment where like we're playing like a sport and someone actually breaks like the glass window in someone's house?
Yeah.
That moment that's how it made me cringe. I was like, ooh, like the window broke.
It's
He's like all this stuff and it broke.
It's nasty.
There's a butt whipping
Yeah.
attached to it.
Who?
It's the first thing that comes to mind once you break something.
Break
in somebody's
something.
house.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yes, major butt whipping. So here's you know what? I'm gonna ask this question. If you had an initiative to save the world, right? If you had to pick someone to save the world, who would you pick? Jeff or Elon?
Elon.
I think Elon.
Elon's an ideas guy.
And he is of the culture. He's of the culture.
Of the culture.
He's of the culture.
He's in tune. He knows the vibe.
I don't know.
See what I'm saying?
I don't know. Oh gosh, the vibes. Yeah, I don't know. Elon, yeah, because he's very like ahead, but like Jeff got money on money on money on money, and I could just hire smarter people.
But then he's gonna hire Elon. Like,
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
you would have to hire a guy like
all
Elon.
roads
Yeah,
lead
but then there's more money to hire other people.
All roads lead
I
to him.
literally could hire Elon and someone else. I can hire
That's true.
someone who is more knowledgeable about science and other stuff that is super important aside from being futuristic. I mean, you gotta hire people that are smarter than you in anything. I mean, we saw that with Apple, right? You know, all the engineers and developers and everything like that, they hired them to get that done. So
Yeah.
you got to have someone who's the idealist and someone who sees the bigger picture, but you got to hire people who are way smarter. You can't just have someone who's idealist and ahead of the time being the one that runs certain components of it.
Because that's when it gets kludgy.
He's pretty smart too, though.
Who?
Not saying he's not.
Elon?
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. You would think that, but
I would hope so.
Yeah, like with
Just-
everything that he's done, I don't think this is by luck.
Yeah,
He's just
yeah.
rolling the dice like, I got it again.
He flips a coin. That's how
Yeah,
he makes
like, I
all of
don't-
his decisions.
yeah.
Can you imagine that? If at the end of the day he was we were like, oh, did you like calculate all these things? He'd be like, nah, I just flipped a coin.
I would not be surprised, though. I would not be surprised if that happens. I've seen wealthy people do that, and it's very demeaning to me and my character. No, but I've seen people do that, though. Like, wealthy people be like, yo, this bill is $4,000, flip for a coin.
You ever flipped a coin for like food or like
That's-
like who gets the bill? I mean, that's the peasant level, but
that's what I'm saying. They're flipping for like Fortune 500 company revenue dollars. Like,
dang.
it's just like
I'm just flipping for McDonald's apple pie.
word.
That's all I'm flipping for.
Just give me the fish fillet. That's all I need in my life.
If you guys had Jeff's money, what would you do? Like, what would you? Obviously, let's not like bagging ladies and all that stuff. But like,
no.
what
That's
other?
where
'Cause
all-
I saw
all
where your
roads
head was
end there.
going. I saw your head was going. But like, what would you do on like a giving back to the world way?
Giving
I had to
back
phrase it
to
that
the
way
world.
because I just want to see where Wylson goes with this. But giving back to the world, if you had Jeff's money, like if you had $10 billion to just invest in anything or to give it out to anything, like where would you put it? What would you do?
I'd probably try to take people out of petty debt
I'm not mad at
more
that.
than anything.
What do you mean by petty debt?
Like little debt that people don't make enough to pay off, but it's small. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody could have like $5,000 in debt. Doesn't sound like a lot of money, but to that person, it could be
It's-
crushing them.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's probably where I would put my money. It's not as crazy as you thought, huh?
Look at you. I'm still waiting for the crazy response.
You're growing up right in front of our eyes. I'm so proud of you.
I try.
I really thought that this was going to go towards
I wasn't gonna go
hookers,
left.
Yeezys, and drugs and all this other crazy shit.
No, man. I would invest it in Kanye, though.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, there we go.
Here we
I was waiting for that.
Here we go. I was waiting. I knew it was too good to be true.
I forgot that he was looking for an investor.
Or you? What about you, Brennan?
I would want to do something for people. I don't know what it is. And I know that sounds very vague, but like one of my biggest things, and I've always said this, one of my biggest goals is to be or to even be considered to win a humanitarian award. I want to affect enough people to even be considered. Now, if I won something like that, that would be like amazing. Mm-hmm. Now, to get there, I don't know what that would look like. Like I could think of charities, I could think of things like that. I would want to do something that kind of starts a whole new mindset as far as how it's impacting people. And like, I think about just so many things. I think about mental health. I think about guiding people in business and guiding people in like a creative space. Mm-hmm. And trying to provide maybe some resources. I just think about stuff like that. But it would definitely be something that would be geared towards helping someone elevate, I think.
Okay. So,
and then investments, of course.
Oh, yeah, you got to invest.
Yeah,
that's residual income.
Yeah.
So for me, I'll take a different approach. I would set up a company with the purpose of getting people back on their feet without them paying. So whether it's homeless people, whether it is single parents in low income areas, mm-hmm. Basically we would help pay for if you need new clothes for interviews. Mm-hmm. We would pay for transportations for interviews. Mm-hmm. We would make sure to help you set up whatever you need, whether it's setting up specific bank accounts, whether it is getting you a place, a residency, because also having an actual address is super important for certain things.
Definitely.
And the whole purpose of it is to basically make the process of you getting work opportunity as easy as possible and not have to worry about certain things.
I like that.
That's something that I would want to do because a lot of the problems that we see in society, especially, is that money prevents people from getting back on their feet, mm-hmm. or money prevents people from getting the necessary care they need, or finances and debt hold people back. And if there's any way to offset some of those costs to mm-hmm. allow them to be able to do the things they need to do. Like, for example, there's some single dads and moms that can't do job interviews because they can't find a babysitter.
Yeah.
So, like, even if it's like setting up not only a company where they will help you with applying for jobs and stuff like that, but even like you need to find a babysitter, great. Mm-hmm. You need a specific residency, we can pay this amount for this amount of months to help you get on your feet. Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Yeah.
No, you know what I hate? I hate when people say money isn't everything. It is.
It runs everything.
It runs everything. It's not everything, though.
It's everything. It's right up there with food, water, and air.
So let me ask you, if you could choose between, this really goes for both of you, if you guys could choose between being happy or wealthy, which one would you choose?
If I was wealthy, I would be happy.
You sure?
Positive.
I would choose happiness.
Absolutely positive.
What'd you say?
Happiness. Because the thing is with happiness, it changes your perspective on things. And if I want to make more money, it's going to be better for me long term to be happy while I'm making money, because we've seen situations where people aren't happy and they have money and then they'll waste some money trying to chase their happiness, whether it is sex, drugs, or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But if I'm happy and I'm firm in myself, one, I'm also not going to feel the need to spend a lot to have mm-hmm. a lavish lifestyle, because I'll be fine with my quaint house and everything like that. Also, like, I grew up, you know, I wouldn't say rich, but my family is pretty well off. And I've seen how money split up families mm-hmm. and everything like that. So for me, I don't value money. I ultimately value my happiness. And I would say, like, yeah, it's important for money to help, but I think ultimately it's your mindset and how you are mentally and where you are in terms of your happiness and your state of mind that will help you get to where you need to go. Because also being successful is very, very lonely. It's very lonely. Every successful person I've talked to, they said, in your process, you are going to get lonely at some point.
100%. 100%.
You know?
There's no way, but that's what I was saying before about what I would do is trying to coach people through it. Like, like this in itself is a process, right? Like, and I think being able to provide those tools for people and at least trying to, because I feel like I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, and she was saying how she wants to start this podcast and all these things. And I was just saying, like, there's certain things like I could just help you that are very surface, right? But then there's things where it's like no matter how I try to help you understand it, you're never going to understand the lesson in some of the things that you go through until you actually go through it. Like, I'm sure I could go through something similar or give a similar example of what could happen, but like ultimately the outcome is going to be something completely different. You know what I mean? And it's like it's that gray area of trying to decide or figure out what to give or what not to give. But then I just think about, well, it would still be fruitful across the board just being able to do that. So,
and you're more prone to also a lot of vices when you are rich. And if you aren't grounded in yourself, you're not grounded in like just the people around you, that money can go quickly. That the you getting into certain things that you probably wouldn't have gotten into before. We've seen so many people that like get into drugs when they never have done drugs before. They get into drugs, they get into other really bad stuff. We see people using wealth to partake in pedophilia activities and all this stuff. And I think that the more successful you become and the more rich you become, there are still problems that come with that. I think a lot of people look at money as a way to escape their problems, but getting more money and getting richer actually it'll solve some of your problems, but it's going to add bigger problems onto your plate.
I agree. More money, more problems. That's a real thing.
I don't know. I disagree. I'm sorry.
Yo, you took this long, dramatic gasp and said, I disagree.
I forgot who said it, but they were like, "Oh, I'd rather, cry in a Ferrari."
I think Dave Chappelle said that.
Right?
I really feel like he said that. But my thing is,
then Dave Chappelle switched up his life.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking about that, right? Like, all right, so let's say we go with that theory. Like, all right, I'm gonna go cry in a Ferrari. The fact that you have everything and still feel the need to cry in a Ferrari or have to cry in a Ferrari, like that's sad. That's sadness to me. I don't know that.
Well, that type of person is probably going to be sad in no matter how rich they are.
But that's my point.
Whether they have money or not.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. For me, it wouldn't be about money. Like it's about much more than that. Like
yeah. And think about it too. When you get more money too, you can't trust everyone that's around you. Like I've had a conversation with one of my friends. I mean, I'm not going to say who the artist is, but he's friends with a big artist. And he basically told me that every time he meets someone new or just meets people in general, he'll just straight up ask you, "What do you want from me?" Because when you get to a certain level, everyone looks at you as like a ticket.
Of course.
The golden ticket, right? So there's that additional pressure of that. Then on top of that too, you also have to be more mindful of your money. But not every accountant is trustworthy, but they are professionals that you have to focus on your money. Then you have family members that are going to come up and expect things from you, right? That's another thing. That's why like money does solve problems, but it does not solve every single problem. And when you get more money, yes, it will solve lower tier problems, but it'll create more problems on a higher level for you that you have to deal with.
I would think it would be easier for a person with a lot of money to find happiness than it would be for a broke person. Because at least if you have money, you could try to find a passion in life. You could travel, you could do pretty much whatever comes across your mind. If you're broke, it might be really hard for you to find happiness.
That's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
Happiness is not dictated by money, your job, your status.
I'm not saying it's dictated by it. I'm not saying it's dictated by it.
It's relative.
I'm saying
it's depending on the person too.
I'm saying with money, you have a better chance. You have more options.
Oh yeah, well of course. I mean that goes without saying. Yeah, money opens doors.
You can even go get therapy.
You can go get therapy. You can go get medication. You could go, like he said, you could indulge in drugs if you want. You could go do a number of things.
Because I think a sad person is going to be a sad person whether they have money or not.
Not necessarily though.
No, that's not true. There's some people who I know who aren't in great positions, and they're some of the happiest people and have like amazing mindsets. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like happiness is just your state of happiness is dictated on one, what you view as happiness, and two, going and this is something that's interesting. Like I watch a lot of like videos on psychology and watch a lot of like psychologists talk. Like some of the happiest people kind of take the fundamental aspects of like how children are, right? How the simplest things as children bring happiness. We lose our happiness because as we get older, there are certain criteria that are placed on us, certain expectations, certain new problems that come our way. Social media contributes to it, you know, the sense of entitlement, the sense of we see someone else being more successful than we are. It's all these things that happen through life that we allow to dictate what should be our happiness. But at the end of the day, happiness is not dictated on those things. It is dictated on ourselves, our well-being, and how we feel about ourselves. And if we are okay and we're firm, then it doesn't matter what happens at the end of the day. I mean, look, I wasn't broke, but there's one time I did not have health insurance and I was not making a lot of money. I was only making $2,000 a month in 2018. And I can tell you, those last few months were the happiest and most serene and calm that I've ever been in my life. And it was the most uncomfortable position. But I got to the point where I wasn't so focused on the money. And when the less I became focused on the money and was more so focused on my well-being and was more so focused on making myself a better person and more so focused on just the fact that I even have family or just I leaned in my faith a lot more. That stuff is actually what got me towards me being happy and me being comfortable in myself. Yeah. And the more I drew away from money, the less worried I became. Because at the end of the day, like, we can worry about everything, right? We can't control certain things, and we can only control the things that we can control. And one of the things that we can control is our mindset, our emotions. If we're able to keep those things and work on those and keep those things in check, it's a lot easier to handle some of these problems when we have those and we work on those specifically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all I'm saying is, let's say there's two unhappy people. One of them is in debt. The other one is rich. Which one would you rather be?
I don't know.
They're both unhappy. Which one would you rather be?
I mean, but why are they unhappy?
That's my only thing.
Is one unhappy? Is the rich one unhappy because they are naturally depressed? Is the other one just unhappy because they just got laid off and they're just unemployed for a few months? I mean,
they're unhappy. They were unhappy for whichever reasons. Would you rather be the one in debt or the one that's rich?
It depends. I know a lot of. I know.
I'd rather be the one that's rich.
Not necessarily. I really know some people that would give up their wealth because it's caused them paranoia. It's caused them.
That sounds good.
Not to no.
So how come they didn't give it up?
Well, no, they've tried. They've tried.
You could easily give away all your money.
It's not just money. It's also notoriety, fame.
Yeah, it's not.
Like,
oh, okay.
You can't just like once you're at that certain point, you can't just give it up. People are gonna know who you are no matter where you go.
Like, it's not that easy. Like that's what I'm saying. There's two sides to it. I know people that have reached a level of success and then looked at it like, wow, this is not what I expected it to be, or have reached it and still don't feel fulfilled. So they search for other things and start creating, like these scenarios in their head where all the while it's just about their own internal issues. You know what I mean? Like it's about them more so. That's why for me, money is not. It's. I wouldn't necessarily just jump to that. I know some people that.
But fame and money are two different things. Because you could be famous and broke.
That's true. But even still, I know people that are not famous and wealthy, and it really is just relative. It's relative to the person and what they are feeling. Like, bottom line, it's like one of those things where if you're not whole, no matter whether you're well off or in compromising positions, if you're not like 100% in tune with yourself, it's never going to work. With you as a person. Because again, scenarios change, go higher, go lower. Like you start to assess things differently, and depending on how you assess it will depend, or how you handle it will depend on how your outlook is. Like it just really is relative.
Also, I could be broke and unhappy, but that doesn't mean that I don't have the support of family. Doesn't mean that I don't have the support of friends.
Yeah.
Rich too, yeah, but also. I mean, we personally know people who are famous and who have a lot of money, and every single one of them said they have to be careful about every single person that they meet Because that could be the person that ruins your life and makes it a lot worse. That could be the person that completely takes all your money away. And so now you're broken, unhappy. So it's so complex and there's so many layers to it. But then also it goes back to, like you said, it's relative, right? What do you think is happiness, right? Happiness at the end of the day for all of us is going to be something different. But when you make happiness less about items that could potentially be taken away, that could be potentially gone in a second, you're going to be more unhappy than if you put your happiness in something that's a little more stable in the sense of like who you are on the inside and so forth.
I agree. But money could buy, it's not, you just don't have to purchase items. Like you can see things, you can experience things in life, you can buy help. You know what I'm saying?
It makes it better. I agree with you. I agree with you and say it makes things better.
That's all I was saying from the beginning. That's it.
It makes things better, but where I kind of disagree with you is that I don't think that it makes happiness. It makes your situation better to help you become happier, but to be happy, you have to work on yourself. That's the only way that you're going to ever have true happiness is by working on yourself.
I agree. I never said anything otherwise.
No, I'm not.
But I'd still rather be the sad rich guy.
See, but for me, I
than
don't.
the sad broke guy.
See, okay, so
there's nothing wrong with saying we like money.
Oh no, I'm not saying not, but I also disagree in that sense because, like I said, it depends on what the scenario is. Because if it's like I'm broke and I'm sad, but I have all the support in the world and I have my current family now, and I've been in a position where it's pretty much like that. I'd rather have that than to be sad and rich and have literally no one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can ride with that.
Well, I mean, we might as well get into Pop Smoke. I mean, this is like a good segue into that. So over the weekend, Brooklyn rapper Pop Smoke was fatally slain in I think it was L.A. Was it? And the investigation is still ongoing. Sources say that it was originally, we were at least originally led to believe that it was a home invasion. New information has now come out saying that it was not home invasion. This was an actual attack, a targeted attack specifically on Pop Smoke's life. He also, some other stuff came out in terms of him being aware of some sort of gang activity and him being really, really scared about that and not wanting, I think he skipped out on 2 performances or something like that. He chalked it up to them saying
the police were shutting it down.
Shut it down, but it then came out, the police went on record saying that, no, that was not accurate. Pop Smoke himself actually was the one that said that he wanted to cancel the performance and was concerned about the gang activity. So, again, it's a perfect segue, unfortunately. You know what I mean? You have someone rising star, amazing talent, and then to just, and mind you, 20 years old, like a baby. Like, even though, again, one of the wealthiest people right now, think about it, at that age, at 20, he's wealthy. He's all right, right? And still to have to feel like you can't even perform in your craft because you got to worry about all of these other elements. Like, that's what I think. Like, that's not happiness for me. that is torture. That is controlled torture, to have to walk every single day and not and always have to worry about stuff. And mind you do that every day, right? But for me, I feel like for people like Pop Smoke, like artists and things like that, it's obviously heightened to the point where they have to be, right? Well, like, they have to be a little bit more aware. But when you have to have that level of awareness because of all of these other elements, allegedly, that's a lot. And that's just one element. That has nothing else to do with anything else that was said as far as like, again, managing his money, managing his brand, managing bookings, managing just the life of an artist. There's a lot that comes with it.
Yeah. Also, before you say anything, I just want to say we send our condolences to his family and those who are affected by this. We actually do know some people in the industry who worked with him and have personally known him. We know that, every death is not easy to deal with, and that, even I think for all of us, that this hit us as well, because it's like there's so many people that are passing this within the last like 6 months, and so many people that either with the greats like Kobe, who was about to go and do some really great stuff in business and with women's basketball and everything. And then with Pop Smoke, he was on the rise. Like this was his year. And it's so hard to deal with all these things. So that's why we want to send our condolences before we continue
definitely.
on.
Yeah, definitely. Condolences. It was difficult for me because, like I said to you, transparently, we can tell them for the gaming event, we were trying to get him. Like I was in constant communication to get him just because I like him or liked, I guess, respectfully. But like, and then to get literally, it was like a 3-day thing having a meeting with my manager Cheyenne, and then like 3 days later, it's just like, wait, what? What just happened? Like, it's just it's moments like that though that kind of put things in perspective. Like you worry about all of these things, right? And it's like at the blink of an eye, it could just be over. And then what? Like, was it worth it? Like all of these things that you worry about, these concerns, or even like the insecurities that you build up. You know what I mean? Was it all worth it at the end of the day? And so I just really feel bad for his family, his friends, his loved ones, his core base. I feel bad for his immediate people that he works with, and I just hope we learn a little bit from it. You know what I mean? Even with the posting, like, you know, they're now harassing the best friend or brother. It was that the brother or
It was
best
his
friend?
brother, I believe.
Brother, right?
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. Like, let's say hypothetically speaking, this all led to all of these things, between the address and the posting. That guy hadn't even had a chance to mourn. Like, he just lost a piece of him in his brain.
It's people on the internet. They don't know him. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but that's my problem. It's like people will lead with malicious intent or malicious thinking without at least giving a benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like, why even go that route? Like, I understand it. I know how everyone thinks that they're CSI detectives, and I put it together. I get all of that, but
don't fuck with cats.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like,
that reminded me of that. Sorry.
No, it's the truth though. But that's really what it is. Where sometimes it could work in that realm, right? Like, don't fuck with cats. That's a perfect example of how it could
Social media
work.
helped to
How
solve,
it could work. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's
solve
why
a issue or problem.
I feel like as I get older, I have more and more of an issue with just social media. Like, I have more and more of a disgust by it.
See, now, you know what my problem is? If he would have got killed by cops, we would have all been out there protesting and doing all this other stuff. But when we kill each other, we don't. It's like we just chalk it up to the game. Hold on. At what point are we going to protest ourselves to a certain degree? Because you see how Extensions got killed by by his own people.
I'm rolling with you.
Now,
I'm rolling.
Zimmerman kills Trayvon. Mm-hmm. We out there, we protesting. Even though, you know, Trayvon wasn't that much younger than Pop Smoke. Mm-hmm. At what point are we going to hold ourselves accountable? Yeah. Start protesting the way how we carry ourselves.
That's actually a really, really good point. But I think...
Because it doesn't bother you a little bit that if it were a cop that killed him, we would be having a whole nother conversation.
Well, no, this would bother me, or does bother me, I'll say, just simply because you have a 20-year-old black kid.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, I think about it on a whole nother level. I don't think about it from a perspective of rapper.
I'm actually
you know
more bothered
like,
by him getting killed by the black people than if it would have been a cop.
But that's my thing. Like, those are my bigger of issues for me. For me, it wouldn't have mattered whether if it was a cop, whether if it was a white person, or, you know, or it doesn't matter. It's the fact that the act happened, the way that it happened, and how, again, people are constantly being affected when it's someone that was really just young, like, just, you know what I'm saying? Like, he, as much, like I said in the beginning of this, even though I'm sure he's wealthy, he's traveled the world, he was 20. He didn't live. He didn't live. And if he did live, that wasn't living like that. For him to feel that scared to not want to even maneuver in his career. You know what I mean? Like, that's, I just feel bad for artists like that, or just people like that are so worried about things when I guess they don't understand fully like the circumstances of stuff. And the reason why I think people don't go up in arms about this situation is probably just because of all of the elements around it. Like, you know, all of the new details that are coming out. We don't know yet what it is. Outside of it not being
but if
I
it
get
were
what
a
he's
cop,
saying. They would
when nobody need any
instantly-
details,
I know, but
and everybody would have been up in arms
as much
protesting.
but as much as we keep it a buck on the show, I don't want to
Yeah.
say what it is on the show just because of the elements in it. I could tell you what it is off record. I'm not gonna do that on record. I can tell you what this is, but I just won't do that.
But also, I think that, I mean, let's just take this incident aside. I think that with our community, it's a very complex, multifaceted problem in the sense of why we aren't addressing some of the stuff that we do. Why are we continuously bashing our own people, and then why are we uproar with cops and all this? I think it's a very multifaceted problem. I think that also that we also have to keep in mind that the infrastructures that were built for the reason why we have gangs or why we have some of these obstacles and problems, we didn't put these in ourselves.
Yeah, no.
These were some things that were established or driven by outside parties that were developed. Like even the historical context of the Bloods and the Crips and how the gangs in LA, originally the gangs were, the quote unquote gangs were meant to help protect black citizens of Los Angeles from the cops. Then eventually with the integration of drugs that was put into the city, that's how it created this divide.
Yeah.
I think ultimately we have to figure out what are these systematic things that are being put in place that are continuously making us divide amongst each other. Poverty is one of those dividing to make sure that we ourselves do not thrive. It would always keep us divided. That's why I always encourage people to read and learn about Black Wall Street and learn about that. That was an era of economic boom for the Black communities, and we were actually to the point where we were financially and economically we're able to preserve ourselves and to build ourselves within the community itself.
Exactly.
But once they saw that, they were a racist individual that feared that once we ourselves financially were able to literally create our own ecosystem where we didn't even need to get a dollar from a white man or anyone else. That made them fearful because that took power away. And so that's when they went and they burned out Black Wall Street. They started burning down other communities that were starting to build their own establishments and stuff like that. And when Black Wall Street was burned, our community has never gotten back to that height of economic standing since then. And that is something that is continuously holding us back. That's why all these areas that are predominantly Black and these areas where the gangs are, why do you think that they are still low income areas? Why do you think that they're doing gentrification and pushing those people out and making sure that they're not in these areas and forcing them to having to leave in a position where they don't have money? Our thing is we have to figure out how can we tackle some of these dividing factors like the socioeconomic and just the racist infrastructure, and how do we fix it? I think that if we work to kind of figure that out and figure out how we can address these dividing factors, it's going to help us come together more. But the problem is historically anything that we become unified with, certain individuals will try to break it. The same way that Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were killed. They were unifying the country over what was happening in America and other Black figures. And what did our government, what did other some people said? They're a threat to us. They are vigilantes. We need to kill them. The same way that Black Lives Matter, they make them as a hate group. Why? Because it was starting to make us all come together. We just have to figure out how to do it and do it swiftly and quickly, because and I know it's hard to say for us to do that, but that's the only way that we're gonna be able to do it. Is because if we do it in a long tenured process or long process, certain people of power are gonna look at it and they're gonna figure out, how do we get rid of this? How do we get rid of that person? How do we there's a leader, how do we remove them? Unfortunately, historically, that's always been the case. They're going to try to find ways to break it down. We just got to figure out how can we stop these dividing processes and do it in a manner where it'll unify us quickly. Or maybe we just have to say, guys, let's just come together, and not just come together on Black Twitter. Let's just come together on a bigger and greater cause and really get this stuff handled and figure out.
Yeah.
We have to get to that point where we say, no matter what system they put in place, we need to help each other and figure out how to help each other and come together, and not just on Twitter for memes and and granted, Black Twitter is very useful. Black Twitter has been very useful in various ways, but it can't just be on Twitter.
Yeah, I agree. That was a really good point, by the way. I like that point. Yeah, so I don't want to beat a dead horse. Condolences to Pop Smoke's family and everyone impacted by this, and hopefully that you guys get some resolve, because I know it's heavy. that is heavy.
It's messed up, man.
Yeah, it's definitely. So I know we're kind of wrapping up now, but I wanted to again highlight another Black figure before we wrap out. So, what else? There was something else I wanted to talk about. Oh, just really, really quickly, just align with this. Did you guys see Rihanna's speech?
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah, I saw it earlier today.
You can say it. Very good speech. Go check out Rihanna's speech. I love that more and more people that I respect and admire are coming out and starting to be very, very vocal about our culture and things that are happening, and trying to build awareness around some of the disparities that we face every day. And I love someone like a Rihanna that has that massive following and had that massive moment. What
was she talking about? Like, was it
vaguely just about supporting yourselves and doing more? Like, you can do more. You can do more things that have better impacts. You know what I'm saying? That can really help people. Like, we're not helping each other. You just got to listen to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
But even outside of how she or what she was saying, how she was conveying the message to me, I thought was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So I do have. If you want to. Bring up of Black figures to mention, I actually do have two, and it's more so around video games, because I thought it would be a great transition for our event. Okay. We're going to talk about more recent day. Reggie Fils-Aime, he used to be the president for North America for Nintendo. He really actually helped to shape Nintendo and tying it to basically the culture within the United States, and also even the presentations of E3. And he was one of the Black prominent, he's Haitian, Black prominent people who have helped to shape the gaming industry and in various ways of how it is now. So he's someone who is now that has been doing that. But then also another fun fact, there was this video game engineer, Gerald Lawson. So for those who don't know, just because I want to make sure I have all the information correct, Jerry Lawson is primarily credited for developing the first cartridge-based video game console. The system was called Fairchild Video Entertainment System, but later was named Channel F in 1976. Channel F was the first gaming system to use interchangeable cartridges with a pause button too, predating Atari 5200. And like Sega's Master System and so forth. So his history-changing advancement helped to develop the N64 cartridges.
That's fire.
Did he have
interchangeable game, the whole concept of having interchangeable games for your system. He was credited with that. The pause button, I think, was someone else, but I think he implemented on the system itself as well.
Did he have like a patent on it? Does he still get like paid for like every system?
I would assume I think he still gets paid for it, because he helped to develop that.
That's a mean patent.
I would hope so. He got that patented.
Well,
but,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the pause button too. So the pause button too, because before then you couldn't pause the game. You had to play right through. So the pause button and the interchangeable cartridges credited to him, and those two components have been so instrumental in all of our gaming lives to be able to pause a game and go back to it later. Because we didn't have the pause button, we wouldn't have been able to have the save points. We wouldn't have the interchangeable cartridges. We wouldn't have the N64 cartridges. We wouldn't have the PlayStation CDs. And that wouldn't have led to being able to download individual video games on the systems as quickly as it happened. Because the video game industry is actually even fairly young. People have to realize if we're going to look at just other industries, it's still a young industry, because first video game didn't come out until I think like the late 70s. And actually, funny enough, there was a basketball game that had the first playable Black character. Before, you couldn't play with characters that had different skin tones. It was like purple or something. And then eventually they were able to add a skin tone that you can play with a Black character.
That's fire.
It's crazy.
It's fucked that we were purple, though. Oh, we gotta be purple.
Yeah, we always gotta break barriers.
Blue, like, couldn't be another color, like... It's fine. I have my gripes. Thank you for that. That was actually really, really insightful.
Yeah, that was dope.
Can't stress it enough, guys. March 7th. Grassroots Podcast, Nate Robinson, 368 gaming event. It's going down. Subscribe. Notification button. Brandon Killabh HR.
Newsletter. We may open up the RSVPs for just a few people, but the only way you're going to know is via the newsletter. We're not going to tweet it out because there's only going to be a few, so it's going to be in our newsletter. And also, we're going to be dropping clips from the event on our social media, as well as having an actual interview episode with Nate, and also some interview content from other guests too. We'll wait and see. But the only way you're going to know is if you sign up for our newsletter and subscribe to us.
Hey.
And I am Erin Ashley Simon, a.k.a. the lady with the sty in the eye right now.
Ooh, I like that.
You know?
It's almost like the eye in the sky.
The eye in the sky. That's what I got.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a new alias, by the way. Sty in the eye. That's fire.
I'm Wylson.
All right. Check us out. Peace.
Grassroots.